Hey everyone, Culture Investor here back with a new video. You see what I did there? Anyways, if you like that, leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. So it's been a while since I have covered a new company on this channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about Nu Holdings. Nu is basically a fintech company in Latin America. It's actually the largest fintech company there. It's also one of the largest neobanks in the world based on the amount of customers that they have, which is a big milestone. Now, some of you know, I have another company in Latin America called Mercado Libre in my portfolio. Some of you might ask, so why are you looking at Nu Holdings when you already have Meli, which Meli also have Mercado Pago, which we're going to talk about a bit later in this video because that is one of the risks, let's say, that I have to take into consideration here. But looking at Nu, I've been following this company since, well, at the end of 2021 when it went public, around $50 billion in market cap. Right now, around $20 billion in market cap. Recently, they released their earnings report, and that basically made me look into it much more. I've been following this company for a while, and I think that right now maybe the price is right for it to enter my portfolio. Very selective to what goes into the portfolio right now. I haven't added a new position in a long time, which means maybe one company will have to leave the portfolio, but right now I don't think that will happen. And we're also going to have a look at the end of this video whether or not we're going to add it to this channel's portfolio. But first, let's have a quick look here, shall we? So as I said, big drop since it went public at the end of last year. Price was $11.85 at the top, and it dropped. Well, the lowest point was, I believe, back in June, $3.52, maybe even lower, 47 cents. So yes, it might be officially and unofficially considered a penny stock because it's under $5, but it has a market cap of $21.75 billion. And by the way, I am here on Seeking Alpha. There is a link down in the description in the pinned comment where you could get 50% off your subscription. It runs up until the end of the month, and then you can make something like this. So this is basically my portfolio and other companies that I'd like to follow. And then I get a great overview of all of those companies when I go into ratings. Seeking Alpha Author Score, Wall Street Score, Quant Score, Valuation Grade, Growth, Profitability, Momentum, and EPS Revision, all very nicely and visualized. Now, if you want, you can get alerts, you can get emails every time your company or one of your holdings has a change or maybe releases earnings, something drastically changes with the price, etc. You get some alerts in your email. You can opt in or opt out. It's your decision. So I'll repeat, Seeking Alpha offer 50% off. Link is in the description and in the pinned comment. I enjoy using the service, and not because I have an affiliate link, because it is, like you can see right here, actually very valuable and saves you a lot of time, especially if you have a lot of positions and interest in a lot of companies. So make sure to check those links down in the description and in the pinned comment. And so now let's have a look at Nu's earnings report, because it was a very good one, all things considered, macro environment, etc. Now, cutting through the cycle. So this is basically the continuous growth of the company plus the customers. So let's take Q1 2014. Well, close to nothing. They only had credit cards. Fast forward to this quarter, and there are now 65.3 million customers, 36% of adult populations of Brazil, and the 65.3 million that grew 57% year over year. Now, out of those, 52.3 million active customers, 80% monthly activity rate. Purchasing volume increased 94% to $20 billion. And this is very impressive, especially in the current macroeconomic environment. Deposits increased 87% to $13.3 billion. That's also very important, as we talked about with Square, money flowing into the system. Credit portfolio grew 107% year over year to $9.1 billion, and then revenues increased 230%, all of those, by the way, on an FX neutral basis to $1.2 billion. And so, of course, fintech company, there is an ecosystem. So in the middle, the new ecosystem. So you have on top here partner marketplace, insurance, secured financing, e-commerce, remittance, investments. Then on the left, you have the digital banking platform for consumers, 63.3 million. And then on the other side, you have digital banking platform for SMEs, 2 million of those. The markets they're in is now Brazil, Mexico, Colombia. Maybe they'll expand in more markets in the future, remains to be seen, but those are huge, huge markets. And yes, those are markets that Mercado Pago, Mercado Libre is also playing in. And like we've seen just above, the ecosystem having multiple products, as they say here, moving from a mono product, which was credit card, to a leading multi-product platform. And here you can basically see how mature, let's say, each market is. So obviously Brazil, number one issuer of new cards there, mature-ish market, well, more mature than Mexico and Colombia. Then we go to Mexico, also the number one there, but sits at 2.7 million customers and not 62.3 here. And then in Colombia, those are not millions, those are thousands, so 313.8 thousand customers there. And since Brazil is basically their more mature market, let's have a look at those numbers. Most of the things we've seen above. One of the things I want to focus on is obviously gross profit has increased year over year. Then in the first half of 2022, nice little increase there. Gross profit margin decreased. We're going to have a look at that a bit later. But net income for the first half of the year is now positive. Adjusted net income is also positive for the first half of the year, more than the whole of 2022. Again, that can change. Remains to be seen how the second half of the year performs. And so if you're familiar with Fiverr's earnings report, these lines look a bit familiar. So obviously each line is another cohort. As you can see, they start, let's say in the middle here, number of products per active customers. So the light pinkish is Q1 2017. The more darker ones are Q2 2022. And as you can see, it has been progressing very, very nicely over time. And when it comes to monetizing those customers, as you can see, revenues are going up, and so is the average revenue per active customer. Now, purchasing power has increased as well, quarter over quarter and year over year. Year over year, that's up 94%. Quarter over quarter, that's up close to 30%, which is nice, especially in the current market environment. As you can see here, personal loans has taken more and more percentage of the total portfolio for Nu. Before, obviously, the nominal side is credit card. Now, personal loans has taken a larger chunk of that total. All right, and remember, gross profit before gross margin basically has decreased year over year. Say here, this is despite front-loading loan loss provisions. Again, because of loans, because of that side of the business, well, sometimes you might see this happen. And again, this is one of the risks of investing in Nu. Because in Latin America, there is a high level of household debt, so there is regulatory scrutiny, and whenever that might come, it might put some pressure on the company. That said, they're showing here illustrative unit economics of consumer finance. So credit card side, return on asset 7%, return on equity over 80%, quite nice. For personal loans, return on asset of 14%, a return on equity over 120%. So they show here resilience to navigate through the cycles, the positive and the more harsher ones. Now, before ending this video, I obviously have to talk about the other big risk here, and that's increased competition. There are a lot of fintech companies in Latin America, and also traditional banks are offering various services that neobanks are offering already today. So, for example, Itaú, for example, Mercado Pago, even Meta, Facebook with WhatsApp. WhatsApp in Brazil, you're allowed to send payments, Facebook payments. They have regulatory approval there. There's Monzo, there's also N26, and probably many, many others that I'm missing right now. So there is a lot of competition in the fintech space. But as we've seen with the numbers that, well, Nu has reported, I do believe that they are strong enough to compete with the best out there. That said, it's obviously worth to keep an eye on the competitive landscape. Now, are we going to add new holdings to our channel's portfolio on stockkart.io, which by the way, you can follow the portfolio. It's free to follow. Link is in the description and in the pinned comment. And you can also enter the competition we're having on it. You might get a chance to win $250 by the end of the year if you beat my portfolio and the others out there. Top 5 will also get access to Stockkart's VIP platform. So I'm gonna add 1,000 shares to the channel's portfolio. The reason for decision is always this video. So the link to this video will be added here once it's uploaded. So to conclude, while there is some valid risks to investing in Nu, as we've seen with Stone, for example, another company I should have mentioned, Stone also I think is down 80% or so since its all-time highs. Again, there are some risks, but I'm willing to take a chance. I might open probably later on this week because I do have to wait a couple of days before opening a position legally when covering it on this channel. Maybe I'll add a small position to my portfolio. It's already on the channel's portfolio. Obviously, do share your thoughts on this company. Are you using it? Maybe if you're from Brazil, Mexico, or Colombia, do you have it in your portfolio? Leave it down in the comments below. And if you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, maybe hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.